What is going on, everybody? It's Alex back with another video, and I've been on the hype train for Watch Dogs 3 for quite a while, but over the past few days we have gotten a lot of leaks and now it's been officially confirmed. So as of yesterday evening, unfortunately about 2 hours after I uploaded my video, it was officially confirmed that the next Watch Dogs game would be called Watch Dogs Legion. Obviously exactly what I had already stated in my video. This is exciting for a few reasons. First of all, it confirms a lot of the rumors that we've already talked about, but second of all, it's an actual 100% confirmation that the game exists. It's been one of those things where this was just kind of a bad kept secret. We knew it existed, we knew it was coming, but it just wasn't really being talked about by Ubisoft, and now we actually have Ubisoft talking about it, which just solidifies everything. Again, not that it really means anything, but it's just kind of nice. It's the icing on top when you're getting excited for a game like this. So they just put up a little teaser on their Twitter. Obviously, we didn't get any gameplay or anything like that, but they put up this little teaser on their Twitter saying, "God save the NPCs, reveal at E3. So all we get is that one line of text and then just the Watch Dogs red logo, which is a little interesting. Usually it's the white logo with a number next to it, but now we have a red logo for Watch Dogs. So we'll talk into the NPCs a little more in depth in just a little bit, but yesterday's leak basically showed that you would be able to control or play as NPCs. There's not a lot of information, and this just kind of makes things even more weird. But this really opens up a lot of doors, and I'm not exactly sure what it means. Does this mean that you're actually going to be able to hack people, and maybe there's like a quote-unquote bad guy in the game that's hacking all the people and making them do things? I have no idea what it could possibly mean when they're talking about the NPCs and save them and being able to play as them. So if you guys have any idea of what that would mean, make sure to let me know down in the comments, because I'm curious to see what your rumors and speculations are. So it's important to note that the leak we got yesterday, which was put up on Amazon UK, basically said that was our first hint that the game would be called Watch Dogs Legion. So think about it like this. Every leak that we've heard leading up to this point was saying that the game would be called Watch Dogs 3. Randomly, right before E3, right before we know the game is going to get announced, a leak comes up from Amazon UK, which is very valid, posting something saying that the game is going to be called Watch Dogs Legion. If you watched the video I posted yesterday, you would know that I was completely on board with this leak, especially coming from Amazon. I thought it was pretty legit. But something as specific as a weird name like Watch Dogs Legion, and then it gets officially confirmed later on that day, I think it's safe to say that everything else in that is also true as well. So another thing that popped up in the Amazon post was that the game would take place in London. It stated that Watch Dogs Legion is set in a post-Brexit world in which society, politics, and technology have changed and altered London's fortunes. If you haven't been keeping up with it, it's been heavily rumored. It was kind of the general consensus that Watch Dogs 3, or I guess Watch Dogs Legion, would take place in London, so it's really no surprise and just kind of a nice confirmation. They mentioned that London is one of the most heavily surveillance locations on Earth, which obviously, if you understand how a game like Watch Dogs works and how much you hack and how much you need all these surveillance cameras and things of this sort, you would know that this means that it would be a very good location for the game. Not to mention that London as a city is very large and it has a lot of diversity, meaning that the gameplay elements and mechanics will actually work really well. In some of the previous videos I've posted about Watch Dogs 3 and how the game would be taking place in London, a lot of people seem to really dislike this. I wasn't ever really able to get a solid answer as to why. It was always just because, oh, this city would be better, this city would be better. But for everyone who's not a fan of London, who doesn't want to see a Watch Dogs game in London, just give it a chance, because I have a feeling you guys will be pleasantly surprised. So probably the biggest thing people are talking about right now because of the leak yesterday is that you'll be able to play as NPCs. So we don't have a solid confirmation on exactly what this means, but basically they say every individual you meet in the world has a full set of animations, voiceover, character traits, and visuals that are generated and guided by gameplay systems, thus allowing users to play as anyone. So personally, I think you're still gonna have like a main character that's been voice acted and everything like that. When it says that you can play as NPCs, my assumption, my understanding of that is that there's going to be some way to hack or control them instead of like actually going through the entire campaign as just a random NPC that you seem to like. It seems like this is going to be a very big feature in the game, especially since the teaser even talks about NPCs. Maybe the civilians in this game are the target of some kind of attack or something like that, but honestly, we're probably going to have to wait until E3 or maybe even until the game comes out to fully understand what that means. Finally, the last thing that we are 100% sure about is that it will be revealed at E3 this year. Obviously, it said that in the teaser, but digging in a little bit more, we know that Ubisoft is holding its press conference on June 10th. So if you guys are interested in the game, if you guys want to stay up to date with it, make sure to be there on June 10th. Watch the reveal. If not, there will be countless amounts of videos and everything like that published on YouTube later that day. So everything that we've talked about in the video so far is officially confirmed. We know it's coming out. We know that it is going to be called Watch Dogs Legion. We know that it's going to take place in London. We know that in some way, shape, shape, or form you're going to be able to play as NPCs, and then we know that is going to be revealed at E3 on June 10th. These are all things that we are 100% sure about. It has been confirmed, but there are a lot of rumors and things floating around that we're not 100% sure about. But I still feel that they're worth talking about, just kind of like bringing everything to your attention. So really, there's one leak in addition to all this stuff that really seems like there could be some truth in it. Obviously, everything is just a leak. It's coming from a forum post, so take everything with a grain of salt, but I think at least some of this is actually true. There is some overlap with some confirmed things. So first and foremost, I want to start off by saying that this forum post actually states that it will be set in London. It gives it a little bit more validity, but keep in mind that this is basically the only rumored location, so it's not really that much of a surprise. But the important part is that it says that there's going to be a female protagonist. Supposedly her name is going to be Sarah, and she's going to be half Asian and half English. It states that she works for a counter-terrorist organization in a branch that specializes in stopping cyber attacks. She is tasked with infiltrating a hacker group, bringing their operations down, and finding out who is in charge. So this gives a little bit of background on two things. First of all, we know a little bit about her, and then we also know kind of the story of the campaign, because obviously what she's doing is what we are going to be doing in the campaign, obviously assuming that any of this is true at all and not just made up. So another rumor is that there's going to be no lethal weapons in the game, at least no lethal weapons that you will be able to use as a character. I find it hard to believe that no one will have guns, but I think it's pretty likely that you would not be able to have guns. So it says that you won't be able to use weapons like guns or knives, but instead batons, tasers, and other non-lethal weapons. Again, kind of bringing it back to the core of what Watch Dogs 1 was built on, with really just a focus on hacking and things like that, outsmarting, you know, stealth, and not so much just murdering everyone like it was in Watch Dogs 2. And this was something that not everyone was fully agreeing on. A lot of people thought that it just made sense. This is exactly what was going to be happening. A lot of people thought that there's no way that they would take out lethal weapons. But since we got confirmation that the game would be taking place in London, the police force don't actually use weapons, so it makes sense. It would be very strange for you to have AKs and stuff like this where everyone else is just kind of fighting you with batons. So my guess is this is kind of a soft confirmation that this is true. I really don't think there's going to be lethals in the game, and if there is, I think it's going to be kind of a small part of the game and not something where all of the gameplay mechanics are based around it. So although there's not really much to go on here, we got confirmation that parkour would be returning, but it's going to be much better and much more fluid. Now, we don't know whether this is a new engine or they just upgraded it and added better mechanics, but Watch Dogs 2 definitely did feel kind of clunky at parts, especially when you were parkouring, so hopefully this is all better like it says it will be. So like I mentioned at the beginning of this, you need to take all this with a grain of salt, and this is the main reason why, because they said something straightforward that didn't come true. They mentioned that Watch Dogs 3 would be teased 2 weeks before E3. So obviously this didn't come true. They teased the game about 6 days before their press conference, so it's safe to say that that's not true. However, they did mention that there was going to be a full gameplay reveal at E3, which obviously they already mentioned that there would be. So to cut him a little slack, there's probably a lot of leeway what's going to happen here. Maybe they didn't have it ready. Maybe they changed their plans since this came out, as this leak was actually fairly old. So a lot of these plans, especially leading up to E3, could change and probably did change. So by the time this leak came out, it probably could have been expected to have a teaser 2 weeks before E3, and they just ended up changing it. And then finally it states that there will be a November 2019 release date. So obviously we don't have an official confirmed release date as of right now, but I think everyone kind of expects this game to come out in 2019. I think this is one of those games where they really just wanted to complete the game and then announce it, get it in our hands as soon as possible without really hyping it up too much over a long period of time. So honestly, when it comes to like game-changing rumors that we've had to talk about, honestly the big two are having a female protagonist and then having a lack of lethal weapons being in the game. Although I'm not necessarily convinced that this leak is accurate, saying, you know, her name is Sarah, she's half Asian, half English, and then all the stuff that she actually does in the campaign, it would not surprise me at all if we do in fact have a female protagonist. Although I don't really see the importance of having a male or female protagonist, personally I would like to be able to pick, and that's something that could be there. You may honestly be able to pick between a male or a female, but in 2019 it seems like if you have a game that doesn't have a female protagonist, it's immediately sexist. So it wouldn't surprise me if they do that. And then I understand how controversial the lack of weapons would be in this game, but honestly, I think if you want to have a game with a whole bunch of weapons and fighting, there are plenty of games, even made by Ubisoft using probably the same engine, that you could do that with. A game like Watch Dogs, in my opinion, doesn't really need to have a focus on weapons that much. I would personally rather them go much more in depth with the hacking and being able to take people out that way rather than just shooting them. But again, I understand that not everyone agrees with me there, so if you guys really do want to see weapons in the game, let me know why. Like, honestly, expand on it. Why do you think this game would be better with weapons than it would be without? But if you guys couldn't tell already, I am incredibly hyped for this game. I can't wait until next week to actually see gameplay. I am so ready. So let me know down in the comments what you guys want to see. What are the biggest things that you guys are looking forward to in this game? I definitely want to make a lot of content on this game. I can't wait to play it, but unfortunately, we still have to wait. But that does it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to drop a like, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys for the support. Peace out. My mother wheel takes me all over the place. And wherever I go, I'm in mines and hearts. Don't need to climb stairs when I'm climbing these charts. Lilith, Roland, the other two dudes didn't come to my birthday party. Rude, but they all found time to go fight the warrior. Like, this is me like some...